This is what it feels like.
It's Tuesday. Welcome. Good morning. Welcome to New Day here live on TV3. My name is Johnny Hughes, and I'm not here alone. You know, as usual, I have the usual suspects with me. There's Dr. Nana Majman. There's George Professor Echo Chestnut Queening of current memory. Good morning.
I say the suspects like we're criminals, but of course, I hope everyone catches
well,
on
I mean,
the
when they tune in, they know they suspect that
the same crew is going to be here.
Crew, yeah.
But we're grateful that we can always make it, because it's not easy waking up at that 4 a.m., 5 a.m. to get ready for the show. But we're grateful that you allow us in your homes, and because of you, we keep doing what we do. You motivate us to keep pushing ahead, and we hope we also motivate you to go out there and be the best Ghanaian you can ever be to make Ghana a better place.
And Bright, Senior Bright is out there. He's witch hunting ahead of the Easter, so he makes sure that everybody is safe.
Make sure Jesus, you know, is crucified without any.
Right there. So Judas doesn't say he won't betray Jesus. That kind
change
of
the narrative.
thing.
You don't want to flip the script.
Yeah. So when you go to JKT, you know, you'll be safe because you would have arrested everybody. So that's why Bright is not here. But
there was this meme I saw, and then there were, Ghanaians, lauding Judas that he's really giving us a long weekend from Friday to Monday. So they are lauding him there for forsaking Christ.
No, Judas himself won't be happy.
But are we part of the weekend?
No.
Yeah, so
we're still coming to it.
But I mean, you still go 2 days. You would enjoy Saturday, Sunday, and it may be longer because you're still in March.
But the whole feeling that you're not wearing a formal outfit is okay.
Yes,
no, but maybe you. But for me and George, we'll be called.
No, but surprisingly, doctors hardly even enjoy.
So there's no holiday.
So I mean, but I don't want to sound all gloomy. Let's just be wishful thinkers. And maybe
look at this lady.
Us this morning and say, "Oh, these guys are tired. Let's give them a break."
Look at this lady.
There's nothing wrong with wishing or hoping or aspiring for something. Maybe God will hear us.
I was just yesterday, somebody sent me a post, and I was just running through the number of bitters or alcoholic bitters that
I saw that.
About 35 of them. And I was like thinking, okay, if Professor
And
Dodu,
counting.
counting, because people commented on the post that they were adding on. Now, if Professor Dodu, Director General of the Ghana Standards Authority here, told me that, well, they are not being held, because I asked him, are they being held to any standard? He says, as of now, the standard is not there. They are now trying to develop it.
Oh, really?
And we have more than 30, maybe 40, 45 of these bitters, alcohol or medicine camouflaged in alcohol camouflaged in medicine, whichever it is. Then it's a very serious thing.
It is, because at what point then will they roll out the standards and now ensure that the already made ones exactly fits those standards? It may be difficult. It will cost a lot of money more. So why don't they even put a hold on it? Make sure the standards are in place before you allow them to even produce.
And you know, as soon as these things are produced, nearly every week you get a new one. And people are drinking with careless abandon. I mean, for all manner of things, for elongation.
Because of the advantage they are told you'll get out of it.
Which is not true, because eventually, like you said, because most of them don't have standards, they are not tested. We don't know the toxicologic, limits of these drugs, of these medications or drugs or whatever it is. At the end of the day, they come down with liver diseases, chronic renal failure, and we know that these numbers are increasing on the daily. And it even brings, my concern to the fact that young people are dying recently. I had an unfortunate incident where a young woman was brought to the hospital and she had passed away when they brought her, only because they knew her condition, which wasn't right. I mean, she had seizures, recurrent seizures, and everybody knew she wasn't attending to the hospital. And they didn't care to ask her to make sure she goes, or someone just to be sure that she goes, only to be told that they know the format the seizure comes in every month. Getting to the end of every month, she would have a seizure. And I thought,
so they were prepared for it.
Citizens at all? Or is it just because she's not family and she's just there, they'll just look on? And they said, what surprised me was the fact that they said they know how the seizure happens. It comes, it recurs, and then when you leave her there, it will stop. And so they were waiting for it to stop. But they realized this had prolonged for long, and so then they come and she's,
it's sad. I mean, I think that we're a nation of talkers, and this is not good. Look, the youth are drinking away their lives.
Exactly.
And to think that most of these bitters have been underlined as having aphrodisiac qualities and enhancers. I'm thinking, okay, you're a fresh blood. You're supposed to be active. You don't need all these things. Why do you drink them?
Because that may even adversely
It didn't need a
affect
lawyer.
you, rather the increment
It
you wanted
just goes.
You know?
So, I mean, good morning to you, Professor Dodu. Good morning to our friends at the FDA. This is a very critical issue. Are we a bitter nation, or what is it? What exactly is the problem? Over 35 yesterday as we counted, and some kept adding. This morning I'll check how many comments have come, what have they added to it. But it's certainly not right. You know, our fathers used to have, you know, their own herbs, and then they soak it in whatever it is. But now it's become incessant. All manner of things being mixed. And sometimes the funny thing is you have the botanical names written, and not everybody cares to read anyway.
Well, that's even true. Anyway, George, let's do the news now.
I've got all the news this morning here on NewDay. I'm George Quinn. You can also watch us live on DSTV channel 279. On to our very first story. Academic activities in schools at Accra in the Ashanti region have resumed after the violent clash between two youth groups in which claimed one life last week. Commercial activities have also picked up while security remains beefed up in the town.
One person died while several others sustained injuries on Monday, March 19, when two youth groups at Accra in the Kwabre East municipality clashed. The violent incident led to a temporary closure of schools and halted commercial activities in the township. Security was beefed up to restore law and order. Calm has been restored in the area a week after the incident. About 80% of the students showed up for academic activity to continue. Reports gathered by the news team suggest some teachers are yet to resume. Commercial activities have also started picking up. Many shops were open to business. Some business operators were hopeful that security agencies will bring a lasting peace in the area.
The youth knows that even the police are right here, so they are not even do anything wrong here. So I know that they can even do the right thing. They don't even do anything that was even happen again.
We plead for the collaboration between the police and the DCE to help sustain peace in the area.
Kwabre East Municipal Security Council on Friday engaged community leaders and tasked residents to expose criminals for the law to deal with them. The council also resolved to disband all suspected criminal youth groups in the area.
And now to a development that is making all the headlines. I'm not guilty, my lord. These were the words of the former CEO of COCOBOD, Dr. Stephen Opuni, when each of the 27 counts were read to him in court. Dr. Opuni and Director General of Agriculture Ghana Limited, Seydou Agongo, have been accused of causing financial loss to the state. Here's a report by Godfrey Tanam.
The state is represented by a team of 13 lawyers led by the Attorney General and Minister of Justice Gloria Kofo. They include two of her deputies, Godfrey Yeboadame, Joseph Dindiok Penka, and Chief State Attorney Evelyn Kilson. The legal representation of Dr. Opuni was Samuel Kujo, and that of Seydou Agongo and Agriculture Ghana Limited were Benson Nutupi and Nutifafa Nutupi. After taking their plea, lawyers for both accused persons sought for self-recognizance bail for their clients, insisting they will be present anytime they are needed. Without any opposition from the state, the Court of Appeal judge, who sits in as an additional High Court judge, granted them bail. In the trial that lasted close to 3 hours, Samuel Kujo, lawyer for Dr. Opuni, told the court he is prepared to prove to the court the innocence of his client.
The two persons have been granted bail to the tune of 300,000 cedis, and they are supposed to submit their passport to the Director General CID, and each day or anytime they want to travel outside the country, they are supposed to report same to the Director General CID, and the Director General CID had to submit a report to the Register of the Court 48 hours before such an activity can take place. The court has therefore adjourned the case to the 11th, 16th, 17th, 24th and 30th of April. From the Law Court Complex here in Accra, Godfrey Tanam, TV3 News.
Earlier, heavily armed police officers were positioned at vantage points within the premises of the court complex. Here's a report by Godfrey Tanam.
Dissipating the crowd at the court premises, police officers were deployed to give maximum security. The arrangement worked out as supporters of the accused persons thronged to the court premises to show solidarity. It was a chaotic scene at the entrance of the courtroom where some individuals were denied entry, which could have resulted in a brawl without the presence of the police. Some NDC bigwigs, including the former Chief of Staff Julius Debra, former Attorney General Marita Brua Piopon, former Fisheries Minister Shelley Ayute, former Deputy Communications Minister Phyllis Kwachiofosu, Party Secretary Johnson Isiedun Ketia, and National Organizer Kofi Adams were all present. Godfrey Tanam, TV3 News.
You can engage us on stories aired so far on our social media platforms. On Facebook is News on TV3, and on Twitter is News TV3. Our WhatsApp number is 050-823-5228. Let's still do some other news. Media practitioners have been challenged to participate fully and own the World Press Freedom Day event to be held in Ghana this May. Speakers at the official launch in Accra impressed on the media to take advantage of the global event to reinforce Ghana's position as a beacon of democracy in Africa and the world. This year's event is themed Keeping Power in Check, Media Justice and the Rule of Law.
World Press Freedom Day was adopted by the UN General Assembly in 1993 and has since been celebrated across over 100 countries. Ghana placed 26th out of 180 countries in the 2017 Press Freedom Index, compiled by Reporters Without Borders, RSF. A reputation as an enabling environment for the promotion of press freedom has resulted in Ghana earning the hosting rights for this year's global event.
It has come by dint of hard work from the Ghanaian people, from civil society organizations, from members of the media fraternity, and also from politicians. As Ghanaians, we ought to be very, very proud of ourselves, in spite of what we see as our own failings and our own shortcomings.
The country director for UNESCO, Terso dos Santos, launched the UNESCO Guillermo Cano World Press Freedom Prize.
The journalist that will receive that prize this year is not yet known. There is an independent jury that assesses the merits of different journalists that have endured violence exercised against them in their line of duty. The jury has not yet deliberated, but will be deliberating in the next 2 weeks.
More than 700 participants will attend the event slated for May 2 and 3, 2018. The two-day event will cover media and transparency, elections, independence and media literacy for the judicial system, gender, online freedom, the right to information, among others.
If it's worth celebrating, if it's worth introspecting, if it's worth improving on, if it's worth critiquing and developing, then there's a platform for us to highlight why the world should pay attention to the example we are setting here in Ghana by picking on the various subjects that we want to discuss and showcasing that example to the world.
The media was charged to use their platforms to promote the democracy and press freedom Ghana is noted for to the rest of the world.
Accra is likely to experience heavy flooding during this year's rainy season. Kwabena Edujemfi reports factors like blocked drainage systems and sanitation, which have been the major causes of flooding in the city, are yet to be solved. And we'll bring you that story later in our bulletins. And to other news, the bridge at Kisubroku, let's give you other stories where the Criminal Investigation Department of the Ghana Police Service is asking Ghanaians and other nationals to be careful about engaging in online investment. The Director General of the department, DCOP Mame Yatiwa Adodankwa, says criminals are using information communication technology to lure unsuspecting members of public with enticing investments.
The emergence of information communication technology, ICT, no doubt, has changed the world, moving it faster and linking it closer into a global village. Yet, the same ICT has become a double-edged sword, being used by criminals to take undue advantage over unsuspecting people. The latest in cyberspace crime in Ghana is the investment scam, which the police CID says is fast robbing many of their financial resources. Just like fraudulent microfinance cases, the cyber investment scammers advertise high-yielding investment purposely to dupe unsuspecting would-be investors.
The scammers invite people to join an investment scheme which promises unusually high returns, and online accounts are open for interested persons. Investors make deposits into these accounts either through their banks or through mobile money merchants. They are able to log into their accounts and track their investments, and you can see the investment growing every day. After some time, when you try to log in, you can't find it, and it tells you that this website is undergoing repairs or something, and you might think it is a technical challenge.
The cyber fraud unit of the police CID says it is investigating scores of complaints of investment scams since January this year.
Since there's no physical address to which the scammers can be traced, investors lose their monies with no hope of retrieving their investments. Several unsuspecting people are falling victim to this. Let us be cautious about investment schemes which promise unrealistic returns.
Speaking at a closing section of a 6-week detective training course in Accra, the Director General of the Department, DCOP Mame Tiwa Adudankwa, called for collaboration with relevant agencies.
Another one that is also coming up is the back-to-back, where a friend invites you to deposit money and other things. People are using all kinds of schemes to defraud unsuspecting victims. When you suspect anything, report to the nearest police station and we will help you.
Head of National Crime Agency at the British Embassy in Accra, Neil Abbott, urged the police in Ghana to use their knowledge to deter crime.
You try your best. The world is getting smaller. Technology is getting better. Criminals are always one step ahead. Use your skills, use your training. Remember the alphabet, ABC. Assume nothing, believe in nothing, check everything.
76 investigators, including personnel from the military police and immigration, took part in the intensive training.
And President Akufo-Addo says his government is keen on building a sound and secure business-friendly economy to attract private sector investment. Speaking at the South Africa CEO Forum in Abidjan, La Côte d'Ivoire, the president stressed that Ghana is endowed with great resources and potential where security and the rule of law are upheld.
Noted, his administration has focused its attention on trying to build a resilient economy and put in measures aimed at further improving and developing the country beyond being an aid recipient. He said his stringent measures has been instituted to stabilize the cedi, thus reducing significantly inflation and the cost of borrowing.
We want to be able to mobilize our own material and human resources to develop a strong economy capable of generating prosperity for the mass of our people, and construct a Ghana no longer dependent on handouts and charity.
The president noted the rapid growth of the private sector is an essential ingredient in realizing his government's vision of a Ghana beyond aid.
Key to attracting private sector investment is not only creating a conducive, business-friendly and peaceful environment, but also fashioning a state machinery fit to provide strong regulatory support for private enterprise to thrive. That, for us, is the heart of the private-public partnership that could fast-track our development.
President Akufo-Addo told the forum, which comprised African CEOs, bankers and investors, that Ghana's participation in the global marketplace would not be based on the export of raw materials, but on an evolution which would eventually bring greater dignity to the lives of millions of Ghanaians.
Let's delve into business, where interest rates on loans are expected to drop significantly as the Bank of Ghana has reduced the policy rate by 200 basis points from 20% to 18%. Central banks cite subdued core inflation, stable prices of commodities on the world market, and positive growth outlook as drivers for their development.
So it's a reduction that comes as a surprise to the banking public and the banking sector as a whole. Here to critically analyze this magnitude of reduction is banking consultant Nano Champon. Did you expect this magnitude of reduction, 200 basis points?
Well, we expected some reduction, but 2% is a bit unexpected. But all the factors led to that. Inflation threats are no longer there. The deficit is within target. The public debt is also reduced relatively. So when you add all those together with the positive developments in the developing economies, then they point to significant reduction as we have seen.
The reduction in the policy rate is the biggest since November 2014. According to the governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, the reduction was necessary because global economic growth continues to strengthen since the beginning of the year.
Total revenue and grants was 20% of GDP, below the target of 21.3%, and total expenditures, including arrears clearance, was 26% of GDP, below the budgeted estimate of 27.7%.
Banking consultant Nano Champon expects interest on loans to drop significantly within the next 6 to 8 months.
The variables are so many, but I could see between now and say 6 to 8 months, we should see some reflection of this 2%.
The Monetary Policy Committee of the Bank of Ghana also noted that the pace of global growth has firmed up. Even though price pressures are picking up, core inflation in most advanced economies remains subdued. The committee also noted the current inflation forecast provides scope for monetary policy to realign interest rates and reinforce the fiscal consolidation process by easing the burden of interest payments on the budget.
And that's how we end news here on NewDay. But you can log on to our website, 3news.com, for more news updates. I'm George Quenim. Enjoy your morning.
Welcome back. Let's touch on newspaper headlines. We'll start off with a finder. It says 2 firms race for ECG concession. They submit proposals to MIDA for evaluation. Also, President does assure foreign investors of total security of their investments in Ghana. Also, 2 lawsuits have hit government over the U.S. military deal. Then Dr. Opuni and Agongo granted 300,000 Ghana cedi bill each. And then finally, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire have signed Abidjan Declaration on cocoa. Johnny, I'm happy about the Abidjan Declaration on cocoa, but I hope that it trickles down to the very basic person who's the cocoa producer or the harvester or the farmer. Because at the end of the day, we do realize that Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire do have about 60% of the cocoa that's produced worldwide, but we don't seem to have, a say on how much it's sold for or the benefits that are reaped from it. So I'm happy that we've come to this, agreement. But at the end of it, the cocoa farmer has to benefit and has to be happy so that this, industry can thrive. Otherwise, we still go back to the square one issue.
I think that, that's a fair point to make, but I also think that there's always the smuggling of cocoa from that western part of the country into Cote d'Ivoire. It's not just there. Cocoa is smuggled all over the place because people, as you rightly said, don't get the value for the money. I mean, if I have to farm a whole cycle and not benefit from it, really, what will be the essence of all my sweat? So I hope that this agreement, and this is not the first of its kind, though. We've had similar ones that perhaps didn't really work. You remember that we have a whole military entourage there at the borders trying to police the borders, but you get things smuggled anyway. So I hope that we'll go beyond the signing of the papers and the agreement, and then deal with the actual issues where the farmer can now smile. For example, in terms of affording cocoa scholarships, how does the farmer out there, the son of the farmer, the daughter of the farmer, benefit from it?
They don't.
I say that I never held the cutlass before in a cocoa growing area. But while I was in school, I saw most of my mates, and in fact in SS1 I got a cocoa scholarship as well. And I was wondering how it came to be, okay? And I was thinking, are the farmers, the children of the farmers getting the scholarship?
No.
Are they getting it?
No.
And perhaps that will feed also into the fisheries area, where you go to Jamestown, you go to Moray, you go to Winneba, you go to all the fishing communities, Volta region, and you find that these people contribute heavily to exports of fish and feeding the entire nation. But do they get scholarships for it? So you want them to be in school. You don't want their parents to rope them into their jobs because you say it's child labor, but they don't get what they're supposed to benefit, which will keep them in the classrooms and not on the farms or on the water. So we need to go beyond the paperwork and actually deal with the real issues. That's the only thing that will make me happy. This doesn't altogether excite me. When you have two presidents smiling, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
but
that's paperwork.
Exactly.
But when it comes to the actual work on the ground, the translation of what they've signed to become a reality,
absolutely.
we don't see
in any case, we hold National Farmers Day in this country every now and then. Some people get as low or as less as a machete and Wellington boot. Some get a bicycle. Some get, some very things I call trivial. In this day and age, 21st century, who farms with a machete?
No one.
On a large scale.
You shouldn't.
Even subsistence farmers in South America and the rest don't use that. So in this day and age, you still have people who call themselves fishermen, and they are just riding on a hollow log on the high sea. A hollow log. 21st century.
It's worrying. But at least, this is a step in the right direction, because then they see cocoa as very important for us, because that is what our economy seemingly is built on when it comes to agriculture.
Do we see cocoa as very important? You see,
we do.
Ever since we got oil, we have suffered what the experts have called the Dutch disease, where we have not paid attention. So I think between 2015 and 2016 or so, agric grew at a record low of 0.06%. Cocoa is part of agric. So is coffee, so is timber, so are all the other plants that we sell. And so then you want to ask yourself, how much premium do we put on cocoa, for example? The chemicals, which, of course, Dr. Opuni and Elijah Gogo are standing trial for. How much of it got to the cocoa farmers themselves to be able to use to improve the yield? Okay? What is the encouragement for those of us who want to perhaps get into farming? What's the encouragement? Is the Agricultural Development Bank itself providing its core mandates that it has to push agric? So these are the critical issues. As for signing paper, we can prepare the MOU here. You sign one part, I sign, we shake hands, and that's it. How do the farmers on the ground, their children and their dependents, benefit from this particular deal? That's all I care about.
That's all we really should care about.
Because we used to depend on gold and cocoa. Then when we got oil, we moved and we left all of them. Very little attention was paid there. And today it's biting us. Today it's biting us.
And it's biting us rather to, at this point, it's confusing because, Johnny, like I said, every government seems to have noticed that cocoa plays a very key role in our economy, but translating it down to the ground, where the policing is actually happening, where they're so concerned that they make sure that these fertilizers reach the markets, they reach the farmers, they make sure that their yield is adequate, is good enough for them. Because at the end of the day, when the cocoa farmers are not happy, when they stop working, you and I are not going to go back and farm there. And so this is their job. This is what they've dedicated their lives to. This is their livelihood. But if you don't support them and they get tired because of all the diseases that, take their crops and all the money that they pump into, the money which they seemingly don't have, then in the end, you're really crippling them. And so it has to be a supportive industry. Otherwise, at the end of it, we may all end up having to become cocoa farmers in our small corners somewhere. But we hope it doesn't get to that.
It doesn't get that. Let's pay attention to Dr. Opuni and Elijah Gogo's appearance in court yesterday. I was interested to have seen some party bigwigs there. Right. What I didn't like was the concept, and this was on another network, where some youth were interviewed. Right. They had just thrown to the place in a bus, and they said that, well, they were found at the Jamestown roundabout, and then they were asked to come and give somebody funds because it's an NDC bigwig. I mean, they said it themselves. The party has denied it and all of that. But look, you don't have a job. You are unemployed. And somebody sees you, says, go and support whatever it is. You don't even know what you're supporting. And you march to the place. Mental slavery? Does it feed into the concept of politicians handing down to supporters and things and giving them order? I don't think so. I mean, Dr. Opuni's team, and in fact the NDC, have insisted that, look, the man has done nothing wrong. So all the 27 charges will not hold. Right. Okay, that's agreed. So why can't we have a trial that is not devoid of all the drama that comes along with it? Really, in a civilized society, why would we have yesterday at the courts? I saw so many of them. Now, I didn't know where they had come from. And they didn't look presentable to start with. I was not so happy about it. And I think that, look, we need to move away from some of these things. You see, if one side does it, when the tables turn, another side will do it. And then we will still be not a developing country, not a middle income. We will still continue to be a third world country in the eyes of the West.
Exactly. You know, Johnny, when I see these things, I ask a simple question. At what point will NDC, MPP, and these political parties decide that enough is enough? Because, you see, it's a culture. Once you start this, you inculcate it in the younger ones. And that's why I'm even disappointed that they'll look for young people to, you know, take to go and do such a thing. Because what you instill in them is the idea that when a political party bigwig is in court, he needs support. He needs some, you know, show or hooliganism to make sure that his case is dealt with appropriately. But we have the law. We have the way it works. And irrespective of the numbers that throng the court, it's not going to change anything. And so why don't you rather allow these people, you could have bundled them up in a, you know, a bus and said, okay, Accra is dirty. Why don't we gather you and clean Accra? Do something good for the nation. Rather than go and stand there, waste human hours, working hours, good time, just to spend energy to come and make noise.
But if you don't have, then you don't have jobs. I mean, that's a critical point.
No, but Tony, that's the idea you give them, that it's okay not to have a job, because at the end of the day, when we need people to come and make noise, you'll be available. And that's wrong. What kind of people are we grooming?
I think that we must have, and this one, good morning to you, Madam Nkrumah of the National Commission for Cigarette Education. Some of these, I think that our understanding of politics itself is not just the fanatism, because that's what it's become over the time. If you pick a handful of, you know, loyal MPP or NDC supporters, and you ask them to tell you what the philosophy of their parties are, I doubt they'll not be able to tell you. But they can tell you who has been president, who the flag bearer is, who their MP is, and perhaps, but they don't even know. Some people don't even know the name of their constituencies to start with. And so it's a big national problem. These people will grow to become adults. Their grandchildren and children will expect them to pass on some bit of knowledge.
Which they wouldn't
because
have.
The things that we learn from our parents and grandparents, we will be happy to add on and pass on to you know, our successors. But will they be able to do the same?
No.
And then you find that it will get to a point, you find some people trying to skew the history of the country because everybody is not on the same page. And that's the thing that the political parties must have a role in playing this particular agenda and in playing it into fruition. I'm not so happy. Look, and you know that prior to this, not just this government, prior to this, in the erstwhile government, you had the opposition then, you know, would mass up people and say, free so-so-and-so, free so-so-and-so, write a petition and free so-so-and-so. I mean, if we're a country of laws, and we have laws, okay, irrespective of who it is that is standing trial, allow the trial to die a natural death. You are innocent until proven guilty. That's what the law says. And so you can't turn it the other way around and then now start giving people an indication that something fishy might have happened. Massing people up, people you don't know from anywhere, you just saw them. And look, let me speak in Ghana so that people can understand. Obenuchumo, uni ejuma. Somebody walks up to you and tells you, go and do A, B, C, and D. You must ask yourself, when you are arrested, and yesterday, when Number by Jibo. Because yesterday,
Nobody.
the boys said, Akewoba, they said we should come. So we came. And then they asked them, where are the people who asked you to come? Said, they are behind. So they had pushed them to come forward, and they were behind.
Are you puppets?
So if the police there, the crowd control team, decided to round all of them up, who would save you? No, about Jibo.
Nobody.
I don't know.
Yeah, you put your face
Look,
out there for them.
I don't get it.
It just
Look,
doesn't make sense.
we have a problem in this country. 84,000 of our young people queued at the Elwak Sports Stadium in search for immigration service jobs. A lot more people queued to get Ghana Police Service jobs.
Right.
So it is a ticking time bomb. It's a national security issue. And that's why we have people like this. Look, if we have the factories up and doing, if we have corporations and companies working, we will have them even as factory hands, and they will not have time to go and do these things. That is what I expect the politicians to fix. That is what I expect the president to fix. I don't expect these, Matra and Makwe, more 20 cities, take 10 cities and go and do these things. That's wrong.
They're insulting
That's
your
wrong.
intelligence,
Don't insult the integrity of the future generation. Those that when you are not around, they will take over. Don't insult their integrity. Good morning to you, whoever you are, who went to call them to go to the court. Good morning to you. And I think you must bow down your head in shame. Good morning to you.
Anyway, guys.
And having said that, let me say good morning and a happy birthday to Mr. Reginald and Sergey. It's your birthday today. I think Okosonana is your birthday. He's a member of the church.
Okay.
St. Joseph the Worker Anglican Church. That's the only Anglican church.
I like that name when it comes to St. Joseph.
But
anyway,
and the belated one to Eddie Sedor, the boss at APL. Yesterday was your birthday.
Nice.
He's the originator of Sadia, Things We Do for Love, YOLO, and all the drama series in between. Happy birthday, boss one.
Anyway, guys, it's time to run. We're in March and we're just about seeing some rains. But when the rains really pour, are we ready for it as Ghanaians? Are we ready for it in Accra? Especially where the president has said he wants to see Accra as the cleanest city in Ghana. And yet we don't have that. So when the floods come, what will happen to us?
We are not ready.
Let's rant with George on the streets of Accra, guys.
We are not ready.
We are never ready.
My door. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like.
We are fast approaching the rainy season, and we all know the repercussions that come with it. According to the Meteo Agency, Accra is likely to experience heavy flooding during the season because factors that cause flooding like choke gutters and even attitudinal change are yet to be solved. And so the question is the country as a whole ready for the rains? This is Daily Rant. Let's keep talking.
Master, you're ready.
I didn't tell.
Say, community, it means young, it means yes, young. It's Murani as if for no choke, Obi did another to fame. Obi a ya, no, Jan and another to got a better than you're ready, master.
Media the American say, and yet the Biana buying by train, and Nipa ever trains are buying by way answer. Mutman Tim, Nam who say, the air you suit behind you, Monica Yansa by a bit. Not more for brown mattress back I must say, Yampe. Not more to me, but says you would them to say the one cast away, and one to know. Siaka say, bet me be Biansa, I bet you, Yanya. And yet the Biana buying
by not more or say be an emergency, they will support you. And she said, Yabiana, not more,
baby, and so a year be a name said at the program yesterday at the Brian. Young who say you must start yes soon. Young, your beze. A son and Brenna day, Aso, because me to wait, make it tanquala, and to some more bag, tobacco, and the pure water sat at tobacco, the mamma. If you are a pop up man in the ground, and to me, China show my family, and I have first idea and Macquack and Madame. And to my young Cassano, you baby and so to you, and penny phone share. No Muslim lion penny phone and show a summer for, and it's in a tuaba. I may penny a penny Cassaya, why day. I was so. It's your penny non Cassa, near who was near to me says you. I said to Cassiana day. Ato
Ghana, you're ready, even a crying ready. Because Tetino, may what tankers for door to door. So I say room to room, house to house, and no who's our own sir. And that Zoom line, Zoom line.
Now you win your been about so as
would you win Bebra? Not the Zoom line, you better way. Two for no such my year. And I'm fancy Cape Coast. Moon is a cry city na a captain nurse unity. And at Nimpansu ya those who I say, Mr. Nimsa Bemikosi Medayasi, a ensure way. And so Mamma Yaton assassin, Mamma say, Kobumeda, Missy, a Yabumeda. Me, I mean, Mr. Messi Dayasi, a ensure, and Munama could sit down as ensure. Ukoko Buses and Abaye. Man, since Mestre on one ton, sending way, say, someone say, baby, the ma, I say, the gata fawa. You find never be the gata, but find them say, I'm watching and not what time only I say, fancy down. In so no sujidia, a baba behind, baby, 2 ball of good gatem. So what I say. Zoom line, you know, one can't just go 2 ball of good gatem. On the strap, go 2 ball of good gatem.
Now, we see Kobe say Zoom line, much money so many. But me him say even somewhere weeks we move yet chink for 3 because I'm to 2 ball agree and you 8 months.
8 months. 8 months. Because when you da hopa now to me what I wouldn't say so to FM. That's when you da ho. That's I want to mean to abala kame mefa. That's all the kogu got ma opese ni pensanya den. And go to baby. Say am asam kra wo homa. Omo circle got an hono. Omo de as in renting professor Mumbo kios one. I buy man the nin ko hopa and pico and ya samberg man kwana sambi mo hono. O man the nin ko hopa say sa no. So what bank can on your baby and you got a who never book your side. No money. Money. And you pay 20, none pay 50 now, but you not be so bit mix na market. O man said to me, Bolegu, Amuria must have buying. Make us a crass you, a crass him with me to form the Bolegu, Omuria say buying my boy. And you be bien else. Yes, you to me, young women, many years. Manton, is your better. My boy, the road, wait, member or that Mamma Franco, what I said. And what's your one? You be bien else.
You go copy a tea, say, I did say, only so between a sing, or real bed. Now I catch the Zoom line, the best and the man, and I copy in yard. Because so do Hunia. Ena Potemuni. I don't super sound say. So what do we here now? You be bias so you be. And it says you mean who Zoom line. Zoom line on particular place or more. Now what's what we say come do. I'm about to who you feel when you answer me why you feel. What are the way? Oh, my time with my shadow to me for no akota for. That's all show mo bia ka kire we say. We go to my Zoom line what you want to say. And this are buying too for. Alias way so much want to say. How much want to say Mumbo fee. Omu yi fee. Check what you say. Omu ya show. What you say? Munko water to water. House to house. It means sanitation. Zoom line get traffic. Zoom line on you. Zoom line and set to set tankers. Tankers no ban fi won ho a. Or two. Zoom line. Zoom line ya. Zoom line on check. You must circle near be at the Accra places so. In short time. But the two of Molasian. Osa komo satio.
Almost at all. Because there's almost traffic.
What I say? Anna, no, be a cogisca, no, Mamma Samba Traho. It's your mom, penny phone and as your mom leaders. No, Omo and because Obia Betna knew to not to be for Samba. Now went to me, I force on to say, man in Tana hot in Tana that I'll be a moment to two and I say, Bay, you see a chihuahua, a dog to go be my what I didn't say my bank, I mean, baby, I met now. I had a met now. I have only said, yes, if you and when it's your choosing, when you got a mass, yeah, baby, I just got on me, the Miss
expect say me say oba na me gata won to me fi gata won because ye gata ni so na me san kwat na won ti nsuo ni beba me ami dan me mfa obi o ti gata ho bi hu say baby abi wa bo kiosk na uton ade na wusi nsuo ma me hu ni say e me fo ntu kiosk no fanfi baby ete na enye
nsuo ne de me yem se me pa because you see last 2 years ago no enye 3 years ago na enye say ebia amfa minti no meka say menka ebia obi innocent person odu cycle na eyiri ena nsuo no fa no ebia no grotica so a onti cycle area enti mesre o mine say yenhwe na sa ne amani nyina no yenfa ntu no mo de da abonte so aban ne mboa no sisi dan bi oh, Emma, as a small young baby, because Utupanko outside now. I baby that I did hear what you are. I know discover my or mine.
Because Nipa de Biana Nefi, a big crisis, I make some cotton 7 number. Do I so I say, baby is a sea make a home. Men can say baby, I make it be a yenti, or be a bayo be a dabby. Uni baby so to yem kwa kwato enti je o se ye be empanyfo na ebu na nipa ye shrakra be do
usu
me shropa empanyfo na ebu o mo be se kwase ase ye de menyon ne yende me de atu obi aka me what you say because dana nsuo ni yiri 3 years then obi anu otimi didi ye because wo hwe de asi no kura wo TV so na waduane obi bia timi say dey no won se krom ayeden ayedin na aye basa obi anu a eba ne sa na wo ani gem
o me de misro pa the reason misro nso say on one thing say Ghana for nkasa ye ma contractor say onye kwan ma ya on contractor tumie kakes road kesiye na wa ye gota kiti ama Ghana for wankasa hwe for example yankasa ye pressure policy say so to on pressure policy ni mo no untumi fa ho untumi unso tumi tawa because fish phone so I say enti me catch champion for say maybe one more contractor omunko hwe gota say eso sen because omun dwe ho kakra so as a pressure policy po and now what about say other places?
It's a clarion call from the public. All they want is government to, put in place pragmatic measures to avert any future flooding as the rainy season beckons. Let's know your thoughts on this. Log on to our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's News on TV3, and on Twitter, it's a News TV3. Engage us with your comments 050-823-5228, and our WhatsApp number. You do well and share them with the rest of the world.
This is what I feel.
Welcome back. Let's begin a daily with a daily graphic. But before that, I share with you that in the next hour, the General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, Johnson Asidun Kektia, popularly known as General Mosquito, will be our guest here. We'll be having an exclusive conversation with him on a myriad of issues, and you don't want to miss that particular conversation. But the Finder this morning reports that 2 firms race for ECG concession submit proposals to MIDA for evaluation. 2 suits hit government over U.S. military deal. Dr. Opuni Agongo granted 300,000 bail each. And President assures foreign investors of total security of their investments. Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire signed Abidjan D'accord on cocoa. The Daily Guide this morning says AG eyes 25 years for Opuni over 217 million fraud. Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire signed cocoa agreement and NDC military deal with US for parliament. Today newspaper says NDC guru storm court as Opuni pleads not guilty. The Daily Statement says Central Regional Minister urges restraint as government fixes economy. Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire move to control cocoa trade. And Opuni Agongo get 600,000 Ghana cedis bail. They plead not guilty. And finally, the BNFT says policy rate reaches 3-year low. Well, the banks respond this time. Bank of Ghana caps age and tenure of banking sector couples, but analyst punches hole. GMPC secures investors for Prestia Sankofa Gold. My guest this morning, Sami Jamefi, is a representative of the NDC. He speaks for their communication team. Sam, good morning. Welcome.
Thank you.
And Dr. Bernard Okoboy is the MP for Elejo Kuku, popularly as people call Elejo Kuku JZ. and he's also a member of the MPP's communication team. Doc, welcome. Good morning.
Thank you.
And how are you doing?
By His grace.
A Tuesday morning as well?
Yeah, so far so good.
Okay, so let's deviate a bit. The Ghana Meteorological Agency says we'll have a double portion of rains this year. Are we prepared for it? I'll start with you because I know that in your constituency there's a never-ending problem. Are you prepared? Are we prepared?
Yeah, my brother, let me first
your year is weak.
Yeah. Let me first of all say a very good morning to Sammy, my brother, and then to your good self and all your viewers. Also to my brothers and sisters in the Lejekuku constituency, my own constituency, and to one big brother, Gabi Ochidako, of Dankwa Institute. Yeah, you know, yeah, my response was quite faint because I had one inheritance. In fact, this government had one inheritance, which is in my constituency, which I'm never proud of and has been giving me headache all the time, which is the Teshi Link Road. That's a road, it's a 7.5 kilometer road.
Right.
That passes in front of the Lekma Hospital. And in fact, I've been going round and round, talking to officials in government to help us fix the road. And the minister has taken some steps where we have been assured that very soon the contractor will hit the road. But with the rains coming, anytime it rains, it only gets worse.
Right.
So I'm just hopeful that I think it's one big problem we have in the constituency with that road from Manet to, from Spintex through Manet to the hospital to the beach road. And I know Sami uses nice salon car, and I don't want him to get issues when he tries.
That's why I stay.
Observing, yeah, you see, and being the way he was very forceful on the legal issues and lobbied us to speak. I wish he would. He should be mentioning the road wherever he goes, especially in their press conferences too. They should remember to mention the road. Yeah.
Sami, are we ready for the rains? Double portion. Accra is dirty. Other cities are following suit. Are we ready?
So I think you answered the question yourself. First of all, a very good morning to our cherished viewers this morning. And I would want to begin by commending the Ghana Meteorological Service for serving us notice as to what to expect this year ahead of time.
Right.
Many a times when these things take us by surprise, we blame them for not being proactive in warning the country. But I think that they have done the right thing now by sounding the alarm so that we can do what we need to do to avert any calamities. So this should be a wake-up call to the various MMDCs, the various assemblies, the ministries, specifically the Ministry of Local Government, the Ministry of Sanitation, and all of us to ensure that we rid our communities and our streets, our gutters of filth, and we take the necessary steps which will avert any disaster. So I think that this is a collective and a shared responsibility. The media, all state institutions, all stakeholders must complement each other for us to put the right systems in place, for us to, you know, do the right things to avert any calamity.
Okay. Doc, let's start from the courts. Yesterday, Dr. Opuni and Alhaji Agongo were in court. They pleaded not guilty. The AG is looking at 25 years. I wouldn't want us to get into the merits of the issue because it will be sub judice. But one thing that happened yesterday at the court was that some persons were purported to have been bussed there. In fact, some of their own testimony was that they were just seen around Jamestown roundabout and they were told to come there and give somebody funds, in their own words. It's becoming worrying, not just this, but in the times past, people are arrested, taken to BNI, Yoko, wherever it is, and you have people massing up and say, free him, free him, free him. If people genuinely believe that they have done nothing wrong, why must we have the massing up of crowds? Is that good for our democracy at this time?
You know, my brother, let me start by saying that the interest of this government, and this right from the top, from the president's cabinet, the government, is not necessarily to put former executives or former public officers in jail. That's not what will make us pop champagne.
Okay.
But in consonance with the manifesto of the MPP before coming to power, we are very much interested in ensuring that all assets of the state that have landed in the hands of individuals in a wrong manner are retrieved back to the state.
Okay.
Now, what is exciting when it comes to what is happening in court is not the fact that Opuni appears to be standing before a judge, but the lesson that nobody is above the law, including current executives. And that if that's assuming, I'm not saying he's guilty, assuming you...
He is not.
Yeah, of course.
Until the law says so.
Exactly.
Right.
So that I'm saying that assuming you get yourself in an act which robs the state, it is possible that you'll be accountable. I mean, that's the lesson.
Right.
Then thirdly, I insist strongly, the president is the same with His Excellency.
Right.
Nobody is guilty until proven otherwise in court.
Right.
So as we speak, Dr. Opuni is supposed to be innocent.
Right.
And we want the discussion to be in this manner. Now, I mean, we mentioned 27 charges, willfully causing financial loss to the tune of 270 million. It is not within our domain or jurisdiction, not even Attorney General, to conclude and establish that the gentleman is wrong.
Right.
But it is the courts.
Exactly.
And that is one thing that I'm very much interested in. Now, what is happening is not political persecution. It is what? Prosecution. Which, as an aspiring lawyer, knows that it is part of our democratic governance.
Right.
Your chances of acquittal is not in the multitude of supporters who visit the courts. My brother, I think politicians by now should know this so well, that your chances, any chance of acquittal is not embedded in the number of people who come there to shout and support you. It is in the power of the argument you make in court and how your conduct was in the case that's being investigated. And me, I'm not too surprised if I'm told that those guys who happen to be in the court are saying that they were captured around Jamestown and were told that...
They were not captured. They were rallied.
They were rallied and told that, where and where my fans, let's go and, show support. Now, the judges who handle such cases, my brother, numbers, noise, and ranting does not in any way affect them. And if there is any lesson to learn, my own senior brother, Abu Kapeli and Asibi, they had people following them when they were going to court. But when the day of reckoning comes, the judgment is read, and they say that this is what is happening. Not even the IGP has the capacity. Not the Ghana Army has the capacity. The only thing is in two people, either the president or an appeal in the Superior Court. He knows better. So I'll just urge all people, both people within my party and outsiders, to try to stay away from the merits of the matter as much as possible.
Does this situation mirror the alarming unemployment rate among the young people of this country? Because if they were gainfully employed, I doubt that they will fall for this.
My brother, when you're a politician, you get to appreciate the gravity of the idleness. I mean, people being idle, not being engaged or employed in this country. It's a national security problem.
Right.
And if there are places I can go now in Accra, I can pull at least 1,000 people in an hour without telling them what we are going to do.
Are you serious?
Oh, I'm telling you. There are people, I will not mention the towns. There are places, if I take buses there and give 5 Ghana cedis each.
You will rally them right now?
Within an hour. You see, and that is why...
1,000 people?
Yes. If you give me 1 hour, I can organize 1,000 people. Without knowing what we are going to do. And it tells you the problem we have as a country. There are many factors. 1, some are not engaged. 2, some are not... education is powerful. Education makes you ask questions. You ask, where are you going?
Right.
But there are some who don't even think of that. They assume that it is for a genuine cause. And that is also another matter we have to look at. But there is one which we nearly missed, which is at the heart of all this discussion. We can do so well as a country by improving upon our growth rate in the economy. We can do so well, but raking up so much revenue compared to previous revenues. We can do so well by trying to help majority of our people. Okay. But if corruption, if we don't take steps to send a signal that in this country, when you take wrongfully, and that's not specific to police case, but generally, we must send a signal that anybody can be called to account for what you were asked to look over. That signal must be strong, because like you saw with the last Auditor General's special audit, 5.4 billion was established by the Auditor General to be like fictitious or not true.
That has been contested by the NDC.
Good, but I know that even when it is contested, nobody can tell me that it will come to zero. Maybe they believe there were some portions, so it can whittle it down. But the bottom line is that we leak as a country. When I say we leak, I mean
there are loopholes.
Exactly, and I don't want to. This morning, you know, Sami is looking very handsome, so I don't want to go into specific
Sami
cases.
is always handsome.
Yes,
stop
you know, extra handsome.
See, don't poke him to come in.
The thing is that I can cite specific cases where the cases have been established in a court that transactions were inflated or money wrongfully
we'll come to that part of the comment. Sami, take a bite on this particular one. Dr. Opuni was in court with Alhaji Agongo, but I want us to look at the angle that we picked from Dr. Boy. You are a student of the law. Is it your opinion that when people mass up in such cases, it adds any value at all to the case?
Thank you very much, my brother. First of all, it is important to state emphatically that the claim that people were bussed to the law court complex yesterday in support of Dr. Opuni by officials of the National Democratic Congress is totally false. That misleading information was put out by Joy FM. As a matter of fact, that is where I first heard the story. And I can tell you,
even when they
that
spoke
the
with some of
reports,
the people,
no, I listened to that. They said news, you know, reports, and the voices they played were at variance with allegations they had made in the reports.
My own friend Komla Adum did the stand-upper right in the streets.
So I am saying that it is totally false that any official of the National Democratic Congress bussed people to the law courts complex yesterday. That claim is not supported by any evidence on the ground. It is contrived by some, you know, of these rented press in the country to suit their own parochial agenda. So let us put that on record. It is important for us to state that.
So they took the people to the court and staged them and asked them.
I'm saying that the report is false. The report you are receiving, which is forming the basis of these questions, are all false. Now, secondly, to address your question, there is nothing wrong. I was in court myself, and I'll tell you why I was in court. But even before I do so, the people who came to the law court complex yesterday to solidarize with Dr. Opuni and the accused who had been brought before the courts were people who came from different parts of the country because they believed in the innocence of the accused. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. My brother, as you rightly pointed out to Dr. Okuboy, Article 19, Clause 2, Subclause C of the 1992 Constitution is clear that any criminal accused person is presumed innocent until proven guilty. He is not presumed guilty until proven innocent, but innocent until proven guilty. You understand?
That's right.
And so what it therefore means is that as we speak now, Dr. Opuni, Mr. Seydou Agongo are innocent people. Who enjoy the same rights that you and I enjoy. Now tell me, what is wrong with solidarizing and supporting an innocent man? If we agree that constitutionally they are innocent, then what is wrong with solidarizing with an innocent man?
Where people throng to the court in numbers that outpour or outrun
if
the
you
capacity.
ask me, the number for me was even small, and I would want to encourage supporters of Dr. Opuni, the well-meaning Ghanaians who believe in their innocence, who believe in the principle of fairness and justice, who believe in the rule of law. You understand? And who see this, you know, who see through this persecution agenda of this government to come out in their numbers on the 11th of April, which is the next agenda.
Why didn't Mr. Abuga Pele get the
no,
same?
If you can allow me to flow, I'll get there. I'll get there. So that is what that is the first fundamental point that we need to understand. That once the people are presumed to be innocent, then it means that there is absolutely nothing bad, nothing wrong in solidarizing with them. Okoboy and his MPP friends, you know, when a certain member of parliament, I'm talking about the member of parliament for Ashanti Central Constituency, Honorable Kennedy, in Japan, made a very serious, you know, and shameful claim that Ashanti should kill Gans and Rutarians and all that, and he was brought before court. They went to court. They carried him high on their shoulders, brought him to their party headquarters, you know, poured powder on him, jubilating, celebrating him as a victim.
Is that the way
now
to
today
go?
he is giving us lectures, he's giving us advice.
Is that a way to go?
They had that right, they had that constitutional right, and that is why nobody came to sit here to blame them for anything.
And I'm asking, why didn't Abuga Pele get the same kind of support? Because at the time the charges were leveled against him, he was equally not guilty.
At the time,
and he was a member in good standing of the NDC.
Yes, but at the time, the government of the day, supported by the ruling party, had taken a position that government believed that even though he was a member of our party, he had certain questions to answer before the course of competent jurisdiction. So it would have been contradictory for us to have shown that solidarity to him when we were the very people who put him before court. You understand? So the two issues are totally different. And the question you just asked me is what brings to the fore our unflinching commitment to the fight against corruption.
Right.
I mean, the easiest part to the fight against corruption has to do with the prosecution or the persecution of people who are opposed to you, like they are doing. But we took the difficult path, which had to do with we prosecuting our own certain member of parliament. You understand? So we have demonstrated in the past that we will not shield any official of ours who is found culpable or who engages in any corrupt acts. You understand? Now, I told you earlier on that I was in court. And I was in court to solidarize and to show support to Dr. Opuni because I have known him as a patriot who has served this country well. I have known him for his excellent and sterling performance as a chief executive officer of Cocoa Board. And I think that he should be celebrated and commended rather than witch-hunted and persecuted as is being done currently.
You think he's been witch-hunted?
Yes, clearly.
Even as a student of the law, he's in court before a competent court.
And as a student of law, I can tell you that it doesn't happen in any civilized country, not even in Somalia, that criminally accused persons, even before they are brought before courts of competent jurisdiction, for them to be tried, their charge sheets are released to the media. They are bastardized and demonized in the media. They are pronounced guilty even before they are served notice that, I mean, they have a case to answer in court, and even before they are actually brought before the court. But that was exactly what happened in this case.
Sami, that when a writ is filed in the court, it becomes a public document. Anybody, a media can access it. Is it not true?
In a criminal case,
is it not?
Give me, apart from this Opuni case, give me any such instance in the past where criminal accused persons, even before they were brought to court, even before their pleas were taken, we saw their charge sheets flying on social media like we saw in this case.
Educate me.
Because it is against the law. The reason why it is against the law is that it is against the right of the accused to fair trial, because they are presumed innocent until proven guilty. And under the rules of natural justice and under the rules of the odi or terem partem rule, their side must be heard. And so before you give them the opportunity to do so, to hear their side and all that, you cannot seek to try them in the media and pronounce them guilty even before you put them before court. But that was what they did.
So then the media cannot access a public document and educate its people
this issue,
27 charges.
No, this issue didn't have to do with the media accessing any document. It had to do with state prosecutors leaking official documents.
How do you know this?
Because it is clear. I mean, which media house has come out to say that they intercepted the document? It was first of all leaked to their communicators and social media activists and people like Dr. Okuboy to do mischief. You understand? No, please, let me just finish. I'm coming. So that is clear. And to appreciate, I'm coming. You will get it started. And to appreciate the point I'm making, you need to look at the background of this case.
Okay.
And how how the MPP, the callous manner in which Dr. Opuni has been treated by this Akufo-Addo-led administration. If this man was dismissed under very bizarre circumstances, barely 4 days after this government had, taken office. He was given a letter and told to hand over by 5 p.m. They went after him. They went on a fishing expedition to find evidence at all costs to nail him. Went to his home in Doma, Hinkro, Kumasi, Accra, and sacked his house, desecrated, the belongings of his dead mother and all that. Got Crow to go after him. And after that wild goose chase, after that fishing expedition, they got nothing against him. So what did they do? They decided to cook and fabricate this new allegation of, him buying adulterated fertilizer. Just to carry favor with the people of Ghana and to create an impression that they are fighting against.
Of the care. You as a student of
I have not gotten, these issues are not pending before you call, so I have not gotten into the merits of the case.
Let's get into the issues of unemployment. As I linked with Dr. Okoboy as well, these people, you have said that nobody was based there, but it is also true that some people were there. And I'm saying that man hours were spent like that. Is there any link to unemployment?
My brother, I think that you should credit those of us who went to the court with some level of intelligence. No, I was in the court. Are you saying that I'm an idle hand? The people who came to the court, because you are suggesting that the people who came to the court are unemployed, idle fellows who have nothing meaningful to do. And I think that even though I know that you don't intend this to be an insult, indirectly.
Sami, hold on. So understand?
Yes, I was there.
Understand my question. My question is, there were people out there on the streets, and we saw the police shepherding. We'll show you the clip. We saw the police shepherding these people. These people were out there even after Dr. Opuni had been granted bail and he was gone. There were people still out there. I'm asking a question, perhaps on the back of the fact that we had 84,000 young people queue up at the Elwak Sports Stadium, and that's it on your screens right there. 84,000 young people queue up at the Elwak Sports Stadium in search of immigration service jobs.
There is no bearing between that issue and this issue.
Is there a linkage?
There is no linkage. There is no linkage.
Okay.
The MPP supporters who went to the court, to carry Kennedy Ejapon high on their shoulders, brought him to the party, were they unemployed?
Are we doing equalization?
No, it is not about equalization. Okay. What I'm trying to tell you that the issue you are raising is a red herring.
Okay.
There is no bearing between unemployment and the people who massed up at the course yesterday to show love and support and solidarity to Dr. Opuni, because there is no basis for concluding that they are unemployed people, first of all. Now, I was in court.
I'm asking, is there a link?
There is no link. There is no link. Now, I was in court, and as I sat through the proceedings, listening to the facts of the case being read by the Attorney General, and as I analyzed that, together with all the things which have transpired in this Dr. Opuni matter, my long-held view that this is a case of persecution was vindicated and confirmed. As I sat in court, my brother, in conclusion, many questions began to rank in my mind, and just permit me to share a few questions with you. This whole issue of Dr. Opuni buying adulterated or fake fertilizer, as I sat there, the questions which began to ring in my ears and in my mind were that, number one, if indeed the little bit fertilizer Dr. Opuni bought, or Cocoa Board bought under the leadership of Dr. Opuni was fake, how come that till date we have not heard any complaint or any report from any cocoa farmer in this country to that effect?
That's for the court to determine, isn't it?
How come that the Health and Extension Division of Cocoa Board itself, in its report on its field visit to the cocoa growing regions in 2015, confirmed on page 7 of that report that farmers had indicated their preference for that fertilizer that our MPP colleagues are calling, are describing as fake? How come?
So that's for the court to determine.
Yes, but these are questions.
I don't want to be
I'm not making any conclusions, and I'm not making any prejudicial comments.
I don't have a lawyer on pro bono basis.
When a matter is pending, when a matter is sub judice, you can ask questions. What you are precluded from doing is to make prejudicial comments, and I am not doing so. But just permit me to conclude. Now, secondly, I heard the Attorney General say in court that because the fertilizer Opuni bought was fake, it lowered the national cocoa output of the country. And as I sat in court, I was giggling and laughing In fact, everybody in court burst into laughter because we were all saying that, my goodness, we know as a matter of fact that at the time Dr. Opuni was leaving office, the national output in terms of the cocoa we harvest in this country was 966,400 metric tons, close to 1 million, which is the highest we have, which is the second highest this nation has ever gotten since our independence. Now, how can the NPP and the Attorney General describe that as, you know, a decline in the national output?
Is it also not true that following the work that President Kufuor did, President Atta Mills recorded that 1 million?
We got 1 million, yes, that is true. So but after we got 1 million, that figure dropped to about 700,000 before Dr. Opuni went to Cocoa Board. But at the time he was living in 2016, it had gone up to 966,400 metric tons.
Sami,
Day
in
2017, in concluding. Day
Sami,
in 2017.
You have concluded 3 times.
Because you've asked me the questions. They, in 2017, they projected that they were going to get 850,000 metric tons. They, the ones who are not using fake fertilizer. They are projecting less than Dr. Opuni, the one who is accused to have used fake fertilizer, actually achieved in office. So
thank you.
These are the questions which are yearning for answers. And for me, I think that it is clear we will continue to follow this matter keenly. We are watching the course. We will, when things go right, we will say it. When things go bad, we will say it. Because this is not about Dr. Opuni. It is about what is fair.
Wait, thank you. Let's read your comments on 0508235228. That's our WhatsApp line. Also on Facebook, News on TV3, and Twitter, News on TV3. Let's move on now. They find that page 2.
Let me just a few responses.
Oh, what do you want to say again? What do you want to say again?
I resisted, and actually I desisted from.
It's okay that you resisted.
Yeah, I will not go into it. I just to make some things clear. We are young politicians. You see, you should be careful speaking on authority for the integrity, conduct of a man when you were not caught up in the details of his work when he was in office. Now,
but that's
I'm coming. I said,
I think you should reserve that advice for yourself.
Sammy, hold on.
When you find yourself saying a man accused in a court is excellent, I'm not saying don't say so.
But
and then I'm coming. And then I'm coming to the most crucial matter.
I'm lost.
I wrote the words. He said, what is happening? The charges. He said they are cooked and the fabrication. He used those African words.
Yes.
The charges cooked.
In fact, they were cooked at the NPP headquarters.
Allow him to.
Look at the statements you are hearing. It means he's not got to the point. It is dangerous when at this point of your politics, when charges come before a competent court, before even they get halfway through the trial and come to a judgment.
So you knew that when you release their charge sheet to the media for the media to crucify and hang them.
Sammy, he allowed you. Allow him, please.
To use the word,
his attack is a direct attack.
What is
on my integrity?
I kept quiet the whole time.
No problem.
You jabbed him, he kept quiet.
You continue with the mischief. No problem.
You see, when you use the word cooked, a fabrication, and even added at the NPP headquarters, your statements are absolute. It means that all that is happening in the court, they have a word. I mean, it's a theatrical something. It's a joke.
That's for the court.
No, but that is the import of such a statement. Now, let me say something. Myself, I'm coming from the NPP.
Okay.
Obviously, you are coming from the NDC. It is because of our orientation.
Okay.
The knowledge that when we are asked to deal with such a matter, there can be prejudice or malice.
Right.
That's why it's given to the courts. And if he is not going to take my advice, it is only when the judgment comes out that I'll look for him and see whether he will speak with the same authority or not.
Okay, thank you very much.
My brother,
because this was 2 firms range for ECG concession, and 2 companies have submitted proposals for the concession for the management of operation of and investment in the electrical distribution business of the Electricity Company of Ghana. The ECG private sector participation activity is one of the 5 activities under the ECG financial operational turnaround project of the Ghana Power Compact 2 program. So we're told that yesterday the 2 companies, BXC Company Ghana Limited and Manila Electric Company Ghana Limited, presented their their proposals after it was recalled, and it was open right in their presence. But there are 3 companies that are protesting. CH Group, EDF, and Veolia. They are protesting. Perhaps I start with Yokobo on this one.
But you started the first one. You start with him.
Oh no, I'm starting because
no, you can start with me.
What you had was a residue. Why do you want to hear what you have?
You started with me.
No, you starting with you.
You can start with me.
No worries. Start with you.
You can start.
Sammy, he's running away, so take the man.
Not a problem at all. First of all, let me set the record straight that Yes, please. If Dr. Kuboy understands, and I believe he understands, the presumption of innocence enshrined at that Article 19(2)(c) of the 1992 Constitution, he will not have a beef with me when I say that Dr. Opuni is an excellent gentleman, he's a patriot, and he's innocent. Because constitutionally,
what about the cooked and the fabrication?
Because we know that this thing is coming from your end.
So you've really got the whole
my brother,
process
even before you place, even before you charge him, Kennedy Japan sat on Adun TV and said, including you MPP communicators, you said Dr. Opuni will be jailed. Please, when you were saying that Dr. Opuni will be jailed, even before you had brought him before the law courts, were you a court?
But it's not a court.
When you were calling him a criminal, when you were saying that he has stolen 400 million Ghana cedis, dollars, when you were caught,
Dr. Boy,
the CEO of Cocoa Board held a press conference. Please, just give me 30 seconds.
No, we don't.
And at that press conference, you
respect our viewers.
No problem. You are proceed.
Let's do ECG. No problem. Two proposals. For me. You see, the point. The only point I was making is that
we've gotten it.
This advice, this advice should be given to MPP.
Can we go? Thank you. Your point is
now,
well noted.
Now, on this ECG issue, I've not read the story because clearly I thought we were going to discuss the Ghana-US military deal, which is a major source of worry to the people of Ghana.
You came to the
but what I can say is that this is for me. There is nothing, there is nothing.
You came with the US deal
special about this thing. For me, it is a normal practice.
They're supposed to be wrapping up in April. It's taking long in coming. Finally,
like I said, I've not read the story, so I don't know the details of the story. But what I can say is that the minister, the sector minister, and all the authorities concerned must sit up. They must step up to the plate and ensure that these issues are addressed amicably, so that ECG, the operations of ECG will not be affected.
Let me share a few paragraphs with you. So, proposals were submitted yesterday. According to the META, as of the proposal submission deadline of 4 p.m. yesterday, it received proposals from 2 consortia, namely BXC Ghana and Manila Electric Company, and proposals were opened yesterday in their presence. There was an independent evaluation panel that ran through it. But then, as I said earlier, out of the 3 companies gunning to win the PSP in the ECG deal, CH Group, EDF, and Veolia protested the latest amendments under the amendment request for proposals, which introduced mandatory 51% Ghanaian ownership, which gives ultimate legal and beneficial ownership to Ghanaian citizens. Initially, it was an 80-20. So 80 in favor of the foreigners, 20 for Ghanaians. But with this new proposal, it's 51 for Ghanaians and 49 for foreigners. I mean, I don't know if you get a grasp now.
No, but what I recall is that when we were in power and we had commenced this transaction, our brothers from the MPP castigated us, they bastardized us, insulted us, and created an impression that we were collapsing ECG. And that we're not, we didn't care about the welfare of the workers at ECG. To the reality check, they are in power and they are doing the very thing they condemned us for. The agreement has been tweaked insignificantly. There's just been some minor changes to it, but basically, what we sought to do is what they are coming to continue. So this exposes the double standards of this, Akufo-Addo-led government. That when they were in opposition, they said one thing. Now that they are in power and they are confronted with the stark reality, they are beating retreat and they are coming back to support the very things that we were doing. It's a vindication of the position we took when we were in office. And like I said, the challenges associated with it should be looked at by the sector minister and all the authorities concerned, so that the activities of ECG is not hampered negatively.
My brother, I'm happy. I know a lot of people watch this particular network, and I'm happy I have the opportunity to educate and explain how significantly different this government is from the erstwhile government when it comes to this deal. Number one, the concession was meant to be for 25 years under their deal. When we came, we reviewed it, it's come to 20 years. Number two, and I'm happy you stated it clearly, shareholding was supposed to be 80 for the foreigners, 20 for Ghana. And if you appreciate the dynamics of corporate structure, once shareholding of a particular person exceeds 50%, by and large, they control or own the entity. What have we done? we've changed it, where ours is 51%, theirs is 49%. Anyone who understands corporate will tell you once it's 51, the intent is to make sure that we still are the major shareholder. But please, my brother, you should learn, have a big heart. See, I was taught this by Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. I don't know who is teaching him. Where I'm very calm when he's speaking. When it comes
I was just drawing your attention to something. Don't worry, I'm not heckling you. I was drawing your attention to something. But
so the most significant change which occurred with this agreement is the shareholder change. Where now Ghana is still the majority shareholder when it comes to ECG. Where we agreed with them, where it is universal, is the fact that once there is private sector participation, efficiency is supposed to go up. Liquidity, when it comes to the ability to pay for all their things, is supposed to go up. And the third most important, their transmission losses ought to come down. So we are so different from them. We believe, and this is what is interesting, they've been talking about sovereignty when it comes to U.S. military agreement. When your power sector, you were comfortable giving 80% to a foreigner, how can you be so bold and forceful when you're talking about sovereignty? What is the assurance that is power not part of your security? If whether you have light or not at the Flagstaff House is in the hands of foreign players, how sovereign did you want to be? Luckily and thankfully, with this new administration, we have gone to the table, changed, and I hope you were aware that some of them were complaining that they are not happy with the fact that we've changed the shareholding structure. You know, some of them complain. Some of the stakeholders, they said in the beginning they were giving the impression that they were going to be the majority.
The three firms.
Exactly.
The raising process.
Yeah, immediately we came, we changed the rhythm. They were dancing to Dan. I don't want to mention the party and SWA government, and they were so excited because they knew that they were going to take over. With us, we believe in the believe in Ghana. We believe in the fact that collaboration is important, but being in charge is very, very critical. And we are in charge with ECG. And let me add the good news for workers at ECG. There was a 10-year security tenure in the earlier concession. The agreement they were going to sign on to, that your security of tenure if you work at ECG for 10 years. What remains after 10 years, it was for the foreigner who is the majority to determine your fate. With us, we've taken it out of the agreement so that no worker, unless you opt to go away yourself, will be threatened with retrenchment as a result of the concession. Two different bodies, two different parties, two different tangents, two different agreements. Very important.
Thank you very much. Yes,
just something small. You know, at the time we were leaving office, the agreement we were negotiating for in relation to this ECG concession deal had not been concluded. And Dr. Okuboy must understand that governance is a continuum. We started a process. You understand? We didn't live to see the end of that process. They assumed office, and they have continued that process. So if along the way, they have renegotiated the terms of the agreement and they've made it better, it is good for the Republic of Ghana. But let him not sit here and suggest that the NDC did something so bad and they are doing something good. In any case, if they are supposed to stick to the original position they took whilst in opposition, he will not be talking the way he's talking today. Because whilst in opposition, they were not for the renegotiation of the terms of the concession. They were totally and vehemently against the deal in the first place. So this is a change in position.
Because of the provisions.
I thought you said you learned something from Nana Akufo-Addo. Now you should have a big heart. You understand? So please. Oh, now you're not learning from Akufo-Addo again. You're learning from me. You see your mission. So that is the point I'm making. Governance is a continuum. We started the process. We have come to continue it. You see, Dr. Okuboy, this propaganda about we selling the sovereignty of Ghana and all that. Please spare us that.
Okay, let's
Ghana Telecom. Who sold it? Who sold it? Should I give you a list of all the state assets that you have sold?
No,
let us not go into that discussion. Yes. So let us agree that the NDC, you see, in Akan it is said that you understand? So if you have come into office and you have continued what we started, you have renegotiated for better terms, it means that what we started was good, and that is why you have continued it. Let us acknowledge that and let us make progress.
All right. So finally, 2 lawsuits hit government over U.S. military deal. 2 individuals have filed separate lawsuits at the Supreme Court against the government, challenging the legality of a United States of America cooperation agreement with Ghana, which has been ratified by Parliament. Yabroja Jemfi, a member of the opposition NDC, and Emmanuel Kuting, Executive Director for Africa Center for Security and Counter-Terrorism, filed the suit yesterday. This is a story by Senior Elvis Darko. Yabroja Jemfi is seeking that neither the executive nor the legislature has the power to enter or ratify a treaty that is to oust the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court in matters interpretation of international agreement. Even though the agreement was ratified on Friday, it seems to have a few challenges there. He is also seeking a declaration that the Ministry of Defense acted in contravention of Articles 58(1), 75 and 93(2) of the 1992 Constitution, which he laid or caused to be laid before Parliament an executive draft of the supposed Defense Cooperation Agreement for ratification under Article 75 of the 1992 Constitution. On the other hand, Emmanuel Kuting it wants the Supreme Court to declare the agreement, which many Ghanaians, including some security experts, have criticized as null and void. Is challenging the basis on which Ghana's Parliament ratified the agreement, which he argued was not executed between Ghana and United States governments. Now, we also have information from the Daily Guide that today the past agreements from 1998 all through 2015 will be laid before Parliament today. I'm sure Doc will have a taste, but I'll start with you this time around on this particular one.
Yeah.
This deal certainly is not in good taste in the mouth of many Ghanaians. They think that the sovereignty of this country is being traded for nothing at all.
Yeah.
And somebody made an argument the other time, somebody who's been working with a lot of airlines. He says, look, if we put together all the monies that these embassies take from us, in terms of visa fees, for example, the US embassy, in a year they could make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And giving us 20 million is chicken change.
My brother, I'll give just a short intro. You know, I have with me, this is an agreement regarding the status of U.S. military personnel and civil employees of the U.S. Department of Defense, temporarily present in Ghana in connection with the African Crisis Response Initiative and other initiatives, effected by exchange of notes at Accra, November 24th, 1997, signed by under the government of His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings.
Okay.
This is a document, and essentially, this is a 98.
Let me tender the document.
I'll give to you. I'll read just a small portion, just for you.
Something he's not tendering the document.
No, I'll give to both of you, just for you to appreciate the magnitude of the hypocrisy being exhibited by my brothers, where you see clearly some of the concessions we gave. Now, the embassy of the United States presents its complaint. Now, he said the embassy. Okay.
You can't find it.
No. I mean, just I don't want to.
Please hope you will not eat into my time.
Oh no, I'm not eating into my time. We have enough time. Wait, let me kindly. So this is the 98 agreement, right?
Okay.
And it talks about some of the concessions we gave and some of the waivers and all that. Now, he said the embassy further proposed that such personnel, referring to U.S. personnel, be authorized to wear uniforms while performing official duties and to carry arms. Listen.
Okay.
While on duty, if authorized to do so by their orders, not their orders from Ghanaian orders, commanders, by U.S., and that the government of Ghana accord duty-free importation and exportation as well as exemption from internal taxation on products, property, material and equipment imported into or acquired in Ghana by the United States government. He's a descendant of that party. They signed onto such an agreement. Now, I have what Honorable Hanatete signed in Ghana and was signed onto by a U.S. general in Hamburg on the 28th of April 2015 in Accra, but the Hamburg one was signed by the general on the 13th of April in Stuttgart. Now, this is a U.S. agreement.
Okay.
When you look at what came before Parliament, it stated in the preamble clearly that it is actually a continuation of the erstwhile agreement we signed in 2015. This is what? More or less a modification or a continuation. My brother.
A modification that gives off more than what...
I want them to point to me the content in the new document which is different from the previous, so that then we can speak to that matter. The point I'm making is that in this 98 agreement, way back in 98, we agreed that they can come with arms into this country. They don't pay any taxes. And they receive orders to carry arms or not, only from their generals and not from our generals. Now, where was our sovereignty? Who tells you that when somebody comes into your country with arms to come and do military exercise, you can still talk about intact borders? By then, they had no problem with the absoluteness of our territorial integrity in 98. Now, let me come to 2015. You see, what are some of the points people have raised with this deal, which makes it bad? Number one, why are Ghanaians paying taxes at the ports? Okay. But MPP wants to sign onto an agreement where the people are tax exempt. I've shown you that way back in 98, they paid no taxes.
But that's why
Ghanaians
voted for change.
I know. And I'll explain that. Just to expose the duplicity and the hypocrisy. Then I'll come to your point. Two.
We don't have a lot of time.
Okay, no, I'll make it short. I'll ask for the exposition. It's so important.
Right.
So that it positions him how to come. They are sued about this agreement. The first suit should have been on the 98, the second suit on 2015, and then if they had a third suit on ours, I'll be so comfortable and cool. Now let me come to the issues of $20 million and all that. I've said this authoritatively. You can call Ghana Armed Forces staff Bema camp. Okay. Number one, 60% of all our military arsenal and artillery, they come in the form of grants from 3 countries: Germany, the United Kingdom, and US.
Must we be proud of it? Must we be proud of it?
Good. So you are a country that has significant challenges when it comes to providing food for your citizens and vaccines for your children. And it is because of that you've gone into all kinds of collaboration. The US spends millions of dollars to give you vaccines. Okay. The US, through their collaboration, makes huge investments in this country. People in the north, I'm giving you just a few cases so that we educate our citizens why they should not be so, restricted when it comes to how they see things. In collaborations, the other partner has their interest, you also have your interest. In many places where they collaborate with us and their taxpayer gives us huge millions of dollars, you think they are fools? No, it's because they know that in this world in which you are, you can't do it alone. You need collaboration. If the US, and mind you, just like in previous agreements, if their men come here, they stay for some weeks, do exercise and go back. In Afghanistan, in South Korea, in other places, they have permanent bases. In the beginning, they created the impression that that's what is going to happen here. It's been shut down. None of them is coming to build a barracks here, have their wives and children living here and going to school here.
Are the fears being raised by Ghanaians genuine?
Yeah, good.
Are the fears genuine?
The fears, by and large, they've been cooked on the flames of suspicion, which were set by my brothers. The fears, good. And what we have to do, like I'm coming, relax. They set flames of suspicion, and the fears have cooked and they are baked. But the point I'm making is that it is the duty of some of us to let our citizens understand that their children, Ghanaian children, they are able to live beyond 5 years because other countries use their taxpayer money to invest in us. And my brother, if your child lives in a village, has not seen a computer before, and is supposed to do joint classes with a parent whose child is schooling GIS, they are supposed to do joint classes in a study group. And you say that because my child will eat from the house of a diplomat, my integrity is being ruined. Why is your integrity? When your child stands to benefit from a collaboration.
Okay, thank
so
you.
We have a lot to benefit from this collaboration.
But let Amma read a few comments and then Sami will take it. Amma,
right, so let's just do a few comments now. Good morning, TV3. NPP is exposed. All the charges labeled against Dr. Opuni and Agongo went futile. We thank God. But they should take note. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. 2020 is not far. They will reap what they sow. That's coming from Salman Fares in Tamale. Also, I was expecting something better from the law students, but I think NDC's sickness of propaganda will not allow him to be exceptional. It's unfortunate he couldn't distance himself from dirty propaganda, but I think he can do a meaningful presentation if he stays away from the mischievous noise coming in from Al-Hassan Hamidou Eskalu from Nalirugu, also from Julius Agahoha and Tahiru in Asawase. Let me salute all our party members who went to the court to support one of our own. Ghanaian journalists should stop condemning those who went there because this is not the first time such a thing is happening in this country. We all know that what is happening to Dr. Opuni is pure persecution, witch hunting, and finding the easiest way to buttress their much-touted corruption allegations against JM's government. No wonder the AG is granting interviews all over and predicting a 25-year jail term on the culprits when the court is yet to ascertain the true facts of the matter in 2020. Change the bad, change. Sami Jenfi is making my day. I need him as coach, coming from Arafat in UG. And then finally, good morning TV3. If the government is truly serious and wants to retrieve state money, it should revisit the drill ship issue after all that caused the state to lose huge money from Anto Sylvester in Kumasi. Johnny, we'll wrap up with that. Thank you.
Messages, we'll read some more of them. But Sunny, take your bites now on the US, the back and forth. Today, we're told that the agreement that was signed under the previous government, which was largely yours, will be laid before Parliament today. The fears have been expressed, but what are your own concerns, Sami?
You see, my brother, I'll be very honest with you. Sitting down here, listening to my brother, Dr. Okuboy, speak, really breaks my heart. Mm-hmm. I don't know whether to cry or to wail, or I don't know. Because this is sad. I can't believe this. I can't believe that we are doing this to ourselves as a people. I can't believe it. What is wrong with us? My brother, nobody is against our collaboration with the United States of America.
Wow.
For partnership in the defense and security of our nations. Nobody is against that. We have done so in the past with other nations and with the United States of America itself, and we will continue to do so as a country. All we are saying is that in doing so, the terms of such agreements must be in the national interest. But that is not what we are having in this case. The terms of this agreement, the terms of this agreement undermine our sovereignty and the peace and stability we are enjoying as a country.
What's different from this new one?
I will show you what is different. But first of all, when I say that this agreement undermines our sovereignty, I will not quote the NDC to buttress that point. Neither will I quote the many civil society organizations who have spoken in support of this position. I will quote.
Because your agreement,
do you know what I would do?
This agreement, their agreement was in the dark.
Allow him.
Even their ministers, they don't know.
Apply the lessons you learned from Akufo-Addo.
Allow him.
Have a big heart. Apply those lessons. I will quote the MPP majority members of parliament themselves. I'll quote their report to buttress this position, that this agreement undermines the peace, security, and the sovereignty of Ghana. I read to you paragraph 6.4, which is on page 6 of the parliamentary committee which actually recommended this deal for approval. You understand? I'm reading from their report, and this is what it says. Under the heading, freedom of movement of vehicles, vessels, and aircrafts. And I know Dr. Kuboy has this. This is what it says. The committee noted with concern the unfettered access the agreement grants to the aircrafts, vehicles, and vessels of the U.S. Department of Defense to enter, exit, and freely move within the territory, airspace, and territorial waters of Ghana. Listen to this very carefully. This may appear to undermine the sovereignty and security of Ghana. This is the MPP majority members of parliament speaking here. But you see, because of cheap politics, Dr. Koboy is here trying to save the face of this government when the government is doing something wrong.
What shows that what
for once, you people should listen to the people of Ghana. He says that I should show him the difference between the 1998 agreement, the 2050 agreement, and this current one. I will show you.
Yes.
We don't have.
And you can go to Manjo Online to know that.
I'm told we're running out of time.
In the 2015 agreement and the 1998 agreement, there is no article in those two agreements where it says that Ghana will grant unimpeded access to agree facilities and areas.
The arms that were going to come in 98, the arms.
Please allow me. Oh, please. Unimpeded access to facilities and areas.
That's what
please
you signed.
Allow me to make my point so that viewers can make a judgment.
I've read it.
Don't do this. You are a doctor.
Yours was the same.
For God's sake, allow me to make my point so that they leave that judgment to Ghanaians. And the viewers credit them with some intelligence. So the point I'm making is that in those agreements, we never granted them unimpeded access to our facilities. We never gave them exclusive control and exclusive usage of our facilities. Number two, let me show you another material difference. Number two, in those agreements, please, my brother, can I make my point?
They give them access.
It is not there. Access to facilities not there. Arms are facilities.
But what are arms? What is the facility?
That is English. We are talking about facilities and areas. You are talking about arms. What are you talking about? Please allow me to make my point.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Please, I beg you, don't do this. I beg you. Let me conclude.
Your 5 minutes is up, Sami.
Secondly, in those agreements, there were definite.
Welcome back, and we told you about the exclusive. The time is nigh. Let's have a chat with the General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, Mr. Johnson Asiedu Nketia, popularly known as General Mosquito. General, welcome. Good morning. How are you doing?
Thank you very much.
I like the firm handshake. It's reassuring. How is the NDC doing these days?
Well, we are doing fine. Our programs are on course. Indeed, we were supposed to address the press 2 days ago.
Right.
To indicate the way forward, but it happens that this whole US-Ghana agreement became so important for us to discuss, so we shelved that press engagement, and I've taken to defending the interests of the nation first before we go back to our party interests.
So until you're done, the press conference is not coming up. When do you hope to have this press conference?
Well, I'm sure we'll inform the press before we break for the Easter. But, you know, between today and tomorrow, we have very important activities to undertake. Right from here, all the minority parties are going to address the press about tomorrow's event. And then tomorrow there will be a manifestation in town indicating our abhorrence to this whole agreement between the government of Ghana and the United States concerning the military deployment in Ghana.
I know that you know, this has become a very significant issue. We'll talk about it. But your party was pushing for reorganization and re-registration. How far we gone with that? I've seen the school also ongoing.
We've done the registration. We are done with it. So the re-registration is the basis for the reorganization. And so we are going to inform our members about the timelines and the various regulations that will govern the process of our elections from branch, constituency, regional, and national, and also about the wings, women's wing, youth wing, the Zongo caucus, and so on. So that will be the subject of our next press engagement.
In the issue of reorganization, the heat of it, there was the unity walks. The very popular unity walks. Has it achieved its purpose, first of all?
Well, the unity walks were initiatives from the regions. So it's not like the NDC at the national level has indicated a program for unity walks and so on. So they are still ongoing. I'm sure many of the regions have held them. And the others, I'm told, will be holding them. But whilst that is happening, we are also, you know, concurrently also engaged in registration, and then the internal party elections, whose timetable we are going to lay out.
And there are concerns that JM sort of hijacked the unity walks. Persons have declared their interest in becoming flag bearers of your party. And they say that, well, it looks as if JM is the one who always will address the crowds there. Did that concern get to you as well?
I heard about it, but I didn't find it necessary to engage in that type of conversation.
Why so?
If there are regional initiatives, we have nothing to do with the funding. I don't know who funded them, and so on. So if anybody has concerns about how they are organized and who gets the opportunity to speak, I guess the appropriate place to go is to engage the
but to the extent that it affects the totality, the national character of the party, in the eyes of the public.
It does not.
It does not.
It does not, because campaigning can be done by anybody and everybody within the party. So if a region or a constituency decides to do a national program to further the interests of the party in that particular constituency, they don't need national approval or anything. So if anybody has an intention of maybe contesting for any position, they may also wish to engage the regions to finance and organize any such activity, so long as nothing said there would seem to be dividing the party, but it is, to support the cause of the party. They are welcome to do so.
Right. There were 5, candidates who had expressed interest ahead, and knowing that your party's constitution says if you are in opposition 2 years away from the election, you should organize and pick a flag bearer. Names like Dr. Ekospio Gabra, Professor Alabi, John Mahama himself, Mr. Alban Bagbin. I've forgotten the 5th one, though, but they are all in the fall.
Oh, you didn't hear the rumor about me going to?
I heard the rumor, but
these all remain rumors. You understand? Because there is no nomination papers to pick.
Okay.
The vacancy has not been declared, and so they continue to be rumors.
But do you have presidential ambitions?
Me?
Yes.
At what time?
I'm asking you now, General.
No, I'm saying that, but if you ask generally that from now till I die, do I have presidential ambitions?
No.
I'll not be in the
position. 2020, do you have
2020?
Do you have presidential ambitions? No. You don't have at all?
No, I don't have.
Not at all. Does it worry you that ahead of the nomination forms and all of that, you have party stalwarts making their intentions clear, that they would like to lead the party in 2020? Does it worry you?
It doesn't worry me. It's if you like, it's an indication of the attractiveness of the party, because I haven't heard anybody declaring their intention to go to prison.
Okay.
So, I think that is something that is worthwhile, is what will attract people. So I think it's good. And we are not such a small party that when you are looking for leadership, people will just be looking at the person who established the party, that he should go, like some parties that have
some parties like which one?
Oh, there are several parties out there. Kaunda's party in Zambia. I know about Obote's party in Uganda, and so on. So if you have a party whose leadership is like restricted to a family or the founder or anything, then it means that that party cannot win elections. But if you have a party where many key members are aspiring to lead the party, that tells you that you are engaged in a democratic exercise.
Judging by the 2016 election results, analysts have said that the party was unattractive in that particular election. 2 years away from that, does the party look attractive now in your eyes, from where you sit as General Secretary?
But you seem to be
no, I'm asking.
You seem to be probating and approbating. On the one hand, you are saying it's attracting so many people into leadership.
I'm asking
and then
based on the event. I'm
saying
that judging by the 2016 election, political analysts have said that the party, based on that result, was unattractive in the eyes of the Ghanaian people. Now I'm asking you as General Secretary.
You are saying what we are unattractive to the electorate.
Exactly. 2 years down the line, per the research that you have done and all of that, has that stance changed in the eyes of the people? Do you know?
I disagree with those who said the party was not attractive to the electorates.
Right.
Because there are several things between people's support for a party and election results declared. In between, there are several things. If you have your support base and they don't move to the polling stations on the right day to cast the right vote,
okay,
that support will remain a support. It cannot be converted into a presidency. If, on the other hand, if the support base even move to cast their vote, those who are supposed to shepherd the vote, so that from the voting point to the results that are declared on the pink sheets, there can be several things. And even after the pink sheets, from the pink sheets to the national results declaration, there are several things. So I would disagree with anybody who does his political analysis and thinks that NDC was not attractive. To several, in many, many ways, I didn't see the results of 2016 as reflecting the support base of the party. But we are in a democracy and we are supposed to accept institutional decisions when they are taken. And that's why we
So you don't think that the results as was declared in 2016,
it didn't reflect
was the actual thing?
It didn't reflect the support base of the party, as expressed in several other ways. But if an institution, because democracy means respect for institutions, believe in institutional ways of running the show. So when institutions speak,
your party founder, Jerry Rawlings, says the party is in the hands of people without integrity. You are the key administrator of your party. Do you agree with this assertion?
I don't agree with it at all.
Why not?
Because he is also in charge, and I don't think that he will call himself a man without integrity. Because he remains the permanent founding father of the party, and we are all members. So I maybe he's quoted out of context or something. Otherwise, I don't believe that he will be calling the group, including himself, as men of who lack integrity.
Let's talk about Nanado's government. 110 ministers starting off. Who's your best? Who's your worst minister?
Well, the 110.
110.
Well, I haven't done that analysis, but my engagement, even in the last 4 or 5 days, with some of the ministers who have had something to do with this pact between Ghana and America and their utterances and other things, it has reduced my opinion about them. If they are a representative sample of the 110, then I don't think that the taxpayer should continue paying them.
So you're explaining that the Minister for Defense
and the Minister for information. Yeah. They have disappointed me so much.
Should they go?
Because they continue making statements that cast the government in a certain bad limelight. I don't think the MPP government deserves that type of humiliation. In fact, the latest statement I heard from Mustafa Hamid was that they were going to take the military agreement signed in 1998 and they are going to take them to Parliament.
It will be late today.
So why should the taxpayer be burdened with salaries of such people? Because you see, in your own 2018 agreement, you recognize the fact, a memo coming from cabinet recognizes the fact that these agreements have been signed, implemented, and they have expired. And that is the reason why you are bringing a new agreement. So what are they talking about? They are going to ask Parliament to waste all their time and the nation's resources to come and sit in Parliament to ratify agreements that have been signed, executed, and died. They are going to ratify them for what purpose? I don't understand them, and I don't think that
Should they be relieved of their posts?
I very much think so.
The Minister for Defense?
I very much think so. And the Minister for Defense too, presenting something, such a crucial agreement, on behalf of the nation. I'm not sure he recognizes the burden he is carrying. That's why he is approaching this work in that lackadaisical manner. I'm not sure he recognizes the burden he is carrying as a minister. So, well, I have stated my view already that he should have not only been relieved of the post, but maybe they should investigate the possibility of bringing him before the law for treason.
Wow.
Yes, because subverting the sovereignty of a nation is a very grievous offense.
What has changed? What's different from that old agreement that you had and this new one? What has changed? What's different?
They themselves have stated it in their memos. Okay. They themselves have stated that these were temporary agreements for specific purposes.
All right.
Okay. So they are now bringing in something that is permanent, that is wider in
scope. This is a continuation of what you started.
No, but I'm saying that what they are referring to, they themselves have stated that these are specific purpose things.
Right.
That were put in to achieve a certain purpose. The 1991 one, I remember, I was in government at that time.
Absolutely.
I remember it had to do with some crisis management in the southern part of Africa.
Exactly.
Okay. And so it was an African Union initiative based upon which these things were signed. And then in the 2015 one, it has something to do with the kidnapping of the Chibok girls in Nigeria or something.
Right,
and so America was invited to come and play a role in there by a sister country. And so America, together with that sister country, requested for our support, and we gave it within a certain specific period. They did the job, and that was the end. So if you come to tell us that you are now bringing people to station here permanently, you are giving them immunity from all our laws, and that, and then there is an unlimited number of persons who can come, and they are all coming without passport, without what do you call it, visas, and so on, and they are coming here without work permit and coming to do work. They are not subject to our laws. Nobody can, even the immigration cannot take them back if their conduct is found to be offensive to our laws, and so on and so forth. You understand? Look at, and then you have members of parliament, ministers of state declaring openly that Ghana has no immunity, that Ghana has no sovereignty to protect. If they don't understand what sovereignty, the value of sovereignty, they should watch what is happening on the international scene now between Russia and UK. What happened? Some Russian nationals were found to have been affected by some poisonous this substance. They did not see even Russians coming to, kill their colleague Russians on British soil. They took samples of the poison and did the analysis and realized that that poison was produced in Russia.
Right.
And because that poison was produced in Russia, they implied that once it is produced exclusively in Russia, Russia might have come to their land to even kill their own Russian citizens. And that is a breach of sovereignty of UK.
Has the country been so cheap?
Look at the reaction. And now you are going to allow some foreign military to come and occupy your land and then declare places where you yourself cannot enter. And then they are free to bring in anything which you yourself cannot inspect.
Has the country been so cheap?
I mean, once you sign this, we don't have any country to talk about.
So tomorrow,
then we have been colonized. So if anybody is bringing chemical weapons into this country, we don't have the right to even know, let alone to object.
Tomorrow you'll be out there on the streets demonstrating against this. What do you hope for the demonstrating to achieve?
It is democracy. We are registering our objection to the sale of Ghana to Americans. And I'm sure the Americans themselves know democracy. They know how democracy works. And they know that even this shambolic thing that happened in Parliament in the name of ratification is actually not ratification.
Right.
And so it is the responsibility of the Americans to find out that their contracting party, that is Ghana, is working within its own rules before that contract or that agreement can be held to be valid.
Right.
And so I'm very confident that America will do their homework and find out that there was no agreement executed before Parliament. Okay. And so there couldn't have been any ratification at all according to Article 75 of our Constitution. So what happened in Parliament has been a waste of everybody's time. And instead of withdrawing and doing the right thing, they are talking about resurrecting dead agreements and presenting them for approval. I don't understand what, and these are ministers who are paid by the taxpayer.
And you think they should go?
I don't think the taxpayer deserves that burden.
Doc, let's talk about Dr. Opuni. Yesterday
I'm not doctor, please.
Sorry, General, I beg your pardon. Let's talk about Dr. Opuni.
Yes.
Yesterday was in court,
yeah.
And some allegations have been leveled that your party asked people to go and support him. I know that the party has dismissed those claims and said that these are ordinary Ghanaians who thought that they should support. Why didn't Abuga Pele get the
they
same
may
kind
even
of
be
support?
ordinary party members,
Right.
but the fact is that the party did not bash anybody. They were acting according to the core principles of NDC.
Right.
We believe in liberty, we believe in justice, and we believe in solidarity.
Right.
Okay? So when one is affected, the others have the feeling to go and solidarize.
Okay.
And you're talking about an allegation against a member. You are not talking about a conviction of a member.
Right.
They are different things. So we are in a common law tradition where you are innocent until proven guilty.
That's true.
So if any party member expresses the wish to solidarize with a fellow party member who is innocent, I don't think that they are in breach of any of our laws.
Why didn't Mr. Abuga Pele get the same kind of solidarity expressed on his behalf?
Well, I don't think that the solidarity is organized by anybody. So people take decisions because of their training and realize that, well, this is a cause that is worthy of support. But I can, sitting from where I am,
okay.
I can think that the difference is that we were in government. It is your government that investigated Abuga Pele.
Okay.
It is our government that initiated the prosecution. The NDC party government.
Okay.
Okay. So if NDC people are going to demonstrate against that decision, they will be seen to be demonstrating against their own decision, and they will be a laughing stock.
Right.
You understand? So that is the difference. But in this case, there is a whole world between fighting crime, fighting corruption, and political victimization, and so on.
Okay.
Okay. So until the facts are established by a competent court of jurisdiction, you wouldn't know whether indeed Dr. Opuni is guilty or not guilty.
Right.
And following our tradition, you know, this is not the first time. I can count several times. President Rawlings was invited.
Okay.
We solidarized. Nana Kurendu Rawlings was taken to court. We solidarized. I was arrested for leading a demonstration. They solidarized with me, and so on and so on. So this is not the first time. It is something that is part of
We'll
NDC's,
have a lot more conversation right
NDC's
after this
history.
break. My guest in studio is the NDC's General Secretary, General Asiedu Nketi. I'll be back after this break with some more. Welcome back, and let me say happy birthday to Grandma Mercy of the Covenant Family Church. That's from Dr. Nanama Ajiman, and also to you, Reginald and Sejay of the St. Joseph the Work Anglican Church. Happy birthday to you both. We have 3 minutes. Welcome back to the conversation with General. In 3 minutes, let's try and deal with these issues quickly. What will be your assessment of President Akufo-Addo's government thus far, candidly?
I don't think they have performed well. And in terms of governance issues, you know, the security of the state, in terms of crime rates, this, in terms of impunity and disrespect for rule of law, and other things, it's very appalling. And I didn't expect this to come from human rights activists.
Maybe you expected so much from
No. The records are there. Okay. And in terms of corruption, they have performed dismally because President Mahama, his government was ranked as the cleanest administration since 1998 by Transparency International. And even that one, they had a lot of flack about the prevalence of corruption. And that is understandable because we are still, as a country, we haven't still reached 50%. So even though 48, 47 appears to be the highest, we shouldn't be content. So the attack on corrupt activities were just what were perceived as corrupt activities were justifiable because as a nation, we need to move in the 50s region, 60s region, and so on. So the criticism was justified. But for us to now come and come down to 40, I don't think they have done this nation any good. And then to lie about the fact that that represented their assessment, and they still were referring to President Mahama's term as the basis of the 2017 assessment. It's not good enough.
Has the government done anything commendable?
Well, they have tried to do something commendable, but even though the policy of free SHS, for instance, in principle is a good policy, but the implementation has been horrible. The effort to save the environment, the principle has been good, but the implementation
the fight against galamsey.
Yes. The principle has been good, by the approach has been a disaster.
There's Operation Calm Life now, trying to salvage the issue of robberies and criminal attacks. Better late than never.
It's not about the operation, it's about the resource. If the operation is ongoing and the resource continues to be bad, I don't think that Ghanaians will be jubilating because we see people running around without catching the criminals. So what we are concerned with is that has the crime rate come down? Has the level of impunity come down? Until the government declares their readiness to fight impunity, the crime rate will not go down.
Okwanyudoho says there may be a civilian coup d'etat in this country. Do you share his view?
That is his opinion. And in our party, everybody is entitled to their opinion. I don't think that he claimed that NDC says...
I thank you, General. People think he should be condemned, but are you still going to be General Secretary?
I haven't declared that I will not be General Secretary. If I take a decision, I'll let you know.
But do you have intentions of retaining your seat?
I am already a General Secretary. So if I have work to do. So if I take that decision, I'll let you know.
General Asedi
But I have not said I'm leaving.
I thank you very much. General Asedi Ketia said it's still at post. We will be at post tomorrow, hopefully on NewDay, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Thank you for watching. On behalf of the rest of the team, Amma, George Queening, and all the backroom staff, have a good morning. We'll see you tomorrow, Wednesday. Thank you.
If you leave me down